great turnout. One of the things that the delegation decided a couple of years ago was we were going to move these meetings around to the different major communities in Okaloosa County, but this is the Okaloosa delegation. And so tonight we're in the north part of the county, which does not exclude the south part of the county, but we wanted to make sure the people in the north end, just like the people in Fort Walton and Destin, or Mary Esther, or Niceville, I wanted to make sure everybody has a chance to conveniently appear and be heard. However, we have over 30 people who want to speak tonight. Before we get into the mechanics of the meeting, I do want to thank the mayor and the city council and the city workers here in Crestview who are letting us use this wonderful facility. Thank you, Mayor. We have, as I mentioned, over 30 people who want to address the group. I'm going to ask you to please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Ian Thompson, my legislative aide, has made each of us a book that has everybody's presentation that's been submitted to us in advance. So you don't need to read it to us. But we haven't read them yet. We will listen to what you have to say and we will read them. You have a question, Judge? I beg your pardon? Do you want to say anything before we get started?
Let's get ready to hear the constituents.
Let's hear them. Okay, I think on the agenda, Chairman Nixon was first. If you would mind, please go ahead if you don't mind.
Welcome to the county seat of Okaloosa County. That you're here. President Gaetz, Senator Trumbull, Maney, Representative Rudman. Joined tonight by my colleagues, Commissioners Goodwin, Ketchell, Cox, and Palmer. On behalf of the citizens of Okaloosa County, thank you for the stellar way that you represent us. Last year, there were no items vetoed by the governor for Okaloosa County, and that was due to the work of our great delegation. This year, we're seeking to partner with the state on several projects. I'd like to highlight a few. The first is the Gap Creek Channel Inventory and Planning Study. The Gap Creek watershed is a 2.9 square mile basin in the Fort Walton Beach area. Covers one of our centralized low-income communities off Lovejoy Road. The county is funding $250,000, and we're asking the state to partner with us at $250,000. Next is Okaloosa County hosts a unique pretrial mental health diversion program. It's a voluntary program. It's designed to redirect the population of persons experiencing mental health, substance use, or co-occurring disorders away from incarceration in our jails. This innovative program has served 179 persons since its inception, its opening in 2020. Next is the SIS funding in state.
How much are you asking for that?
Yes, sir. I have the packet. Please review. $325,000. The county matches $325,000.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next is the SIS funding for State Road 85 widening project. Okaloosa County is continuously partnering with our friends at the Department of Transportation. On the widening of State Road 85, Okaloosa County has agreed to match with $10 million as the state provides $34 million towards this very important project. The last project I'll highlight is the Millside Road improvement. Millside Road is here in the north end of our county. It's an unpaved connector road between State Road 85 and Steel Mill Creek Road. This is a public safety corridor. It connects east and west from Blackman all the way over to Steel Mill Creek, which gives a connection into Walton County. And so as emergency vehicles travel east and west, this will allow a paved access to make it throughout. Thank you for your continued support.
How much is that? $2 million?
It is a county match of $5.5 million with an amount requested at $1.5.
Thank you. Any questions?
Commissioner, I just want to say thank you for being fiscally responsible. I noticed that most of these appropriations have a very significant county match associated with each and every one of them. So I think there's your answer as to why things didn't get vetoed for Okaloosa County. leadership here at the county level, and I thank you for that.
We have a great group of commissioners. The last
No
group
doubt.
and this new group. And so as we move forward into this, it's exciting to see what the future holds.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Whitman?
Welcome, gentlemen. I'm glad you came in to avoid traffic. I'm not going to ask for any money, believe it or not. Thank you very much. I'm here representing the 12 leading cities, and even though we have very few bills, a great bill, you represent Rudman on the beach bill, I love it, hope to pass it. What I want to do is give you the priorities of 12 leading cities. You have the full pamphlet in front of you, and I'll just give you a synopsis of the five different priorities. Affordable housing, the Florida League of Cities supports legislation that allows for a collaborative approach that balances the pressing needs for affordable and workforce housing while respecting the ability of local governments to effectively manage growth to ensure development, signed with character, capabilities, and resources of each committee. For electric vehicles, the Florida League of Cities supports legislation that ensures all vehicles, regardless of fuel type, contribute fairly to the funding of Florida's transportation infrastructure, which will allow cities to maintain safe and reliable roads for all residents. The Florida League of Cities supports preserving municipal authority over utility revenues and the ability to realize a reasonable rate of return on utility assets. Legislation should honor current practices, existing contracts, utility operation, and maintenance costs. Property taxes. The Florida League of Cities supports the levy of property taxes by municipalities to provide critical services such as infrastructure, police, fire, and emergency services. Further changes or exemptions to the property system and tangible personal property taxes would create inequities and unfairly shift the tax burden onto families, homeowners, renters, businesses, and our most vulnerable population. And finally, sovereign immunity. The Florida League of Cities supports preserving reasonable sovereign immunity liability caps for municipal governments to protect taxpayer funds and ensure delivery of public services. And gentlemen, that's all I have. If you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Lux, I think, was next. Supervisor of Elections Extraordinary.
Thank you for that kind comments.
Well, you haven't been subpoenaed yet.
Gentlemen, thank you all for being here, and I love that we're holding the meeting up here in the county seat because I have less farther.
More for Senator Trumbull to drive.
That happens. Well, you know, the more you guys get to enjoy our traffic problems, the more you'll see I just wanted to briefly mention some of the priorities we're going to see from the Florida Supervisors of Elections Association. We are going to be pushing for some legislative updates, as well as a little bit of cleanup. One of the things we would like to do is expand protection from threat or harassment of certain personnel. If you look at the law, you will see that there are misdemeanor charges out there for assault or harassment on law enforcement, state attorneys, judges, judicial assistants, clerk of court, and the clerk of court's personnel, and elected official, and their family members, but not for my staff, not for the poll workers who work for me. And there were some very unpleasant things that happened in the last election, and we would like to make sure that we address that going forward, and we will be providing some of those stories for you. We would like to see a requirement for naturalized citizens to actually have to update their license. We are seeing names that show up from interest groups trying to tell us to remove people from the voter rolls because they're not citizens. We contact them only to find out that they are naturalized citizens, but they never went to DMV and updated their driver's license to reflect that. We would like to see that become something that happens all the time. I think, in light of what we are seeing right now in Okaloosa County with the special elections, that I would like to see a renewed discussion on that time limit for how long a vote by mail request lasts. I can tell you for this coming special election in Congressional District 1, I have only mailed/emailed just 540 ballots. And I had to do that before the end of this calendar year. In the way I read the law, it said I should have been able to use the requests that were on file for the general election, which would have been over 5,000. That's that many more military people who are not going to get a ballot for this election because they don't know that they need to renew their request, and I think that's important. We would also like to see an elimination to the requirement for provisional ballots voted during a poll extension to be placed in envelopes. Since that provision was put in law, we have never had to use it. If we ever did, we would have been on the front page of every newspaper and we would have been the headline story on every news outlet. Because you simply can't provide that many envelopes that you can't just leave laying in the warehouse. They stop working after a while. And we need to just find a better way to do that. The last thing I want to mention, particularly to you, Representative Maney, because I know we talked about it, and that is providing in law something that we can do for hurricane relief as it relates to elections. Every time we see an executive order after a hurricane, the governor always puts A, B, C, D in place. Let's put that in the law so the supervisors know that it's already in their toolbox, so that when the next hurricane hits, because it's never if, when the next hurricane hits, we can already know and start planning for those vacancies. These priorities have not been voted on by my state association yet. That'll happen at our conference in January, but I will be providing all of you with a copy, and I'll be stopping by to see you all very soon.
Is that a threat or is that a... Thank you. I think the tax collector's office was next. Justin Gordon.
Hello, good evening. Thank you all for being here. I'm here on behalf of the Okaloosa County Tax Collector's Office. I'd like to take just a moment to share about our concerns on property assessed clean energy, which is a PACE program, and offer our support, our office's support, with any questions that you guys may have if stuff comes up this session, providing any guidance and working towards solutions. Many positive changes were made in the past session in Senate Bill 770, where a lot of consumer protections were put in place for this PACE program, as well as a restated statute that would require local ordinances or resolutions to allow these programs to take place inside of Okaloosa County, in any county. So the basic premise of it is the property owner can borrow funds in order to do energy or wind mitigation improvements to their house and repay those loans on their property tax bill. And so therefore it would be considered a first lien and subject to tax certificate issuance or even a tax deed sale and loss of property if they did not pay their loan as part of their tax bill. So it is required for a local ordinance or resolution to be in place for these PACE providers to issue these loans. However, in spite of that, there are currently 11 loans that have been assessed here in Okaloosa County by one PACE provider, the Florida PACE Funding Association, through them using a loophole in a bond validation hearing in 2022. That bond validation hearing has been appealed and is currently sitting with the Supreme Court of Florida awaiting an opinion. That funding agency has asked us as a tax collector's office to collect their loans, to which we to this date refused to because they do not meet the requirements of being allowed to issue such loans in Okaloosa County. I'll just close with this. We need to, protect many of the positive changes that you guys made last year. Thank you in Senate Bill 770. We feel probably a lot of these PACE providers are going to come to try to weaken that bill in this session or in upcoming sessions. So if any of this comes up, we just want to offer our help and our support to help explain anything. You can reach out to myself or Ben, who's following me here in just a minute. So unless you have any other questions, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Tax collector Bill Anderson. Y'all are doing well so far.
You might recognize him from the Jaws movie.
Oh, that's right. That's the way I am in tax collection season.
Sharp.
Well, good evening, and I truly want to say thank you
I tell my colleagues around the state through the Florida Tax Collectors Association that I probably have the absolute best delegation in the entire state. We have the honorable future president of the Senate, Senator Trumbull.
Senator Trumbull, future.
And we have the honorable past president of the Senate, Senator Gaetz. We have the honorable general, judge, Representative Maney, and we have the honorable doctor that brings his expertise that we hate to be losing in the Florida House. So I'm very honored to be here with you, but I'm not asking for any money. I'll let you battle that out with the cities, but we are here today to tell you, as Florida tax collectors, we're here to help you. We want to work with you on any issues that come up regarding the collection of tax in the state of Florida, and also we have a package that we'll be coming forward with, and thank you, Representative Maney, has always been one of our good sponsors and support, just as we had with Representative Mel Parker when he was in the House. We have carried the legislation out of this district on behalf of the tax collectors. Our legislation that we ask for is cleaning up the tax bills that we have to make it better for consumers to be able to do business with us, whether it be a driver's license. We work with concealed weapons, and 5 state agencies that we closely work with. When it comes to the local level, your tax collector is the face of Florida government. We often, as people move into the state, we're the first government that they deal with, and that's the transfer of their driver's license into the state. We want to be available to you, senators, in the Senate and in the House to help you with issues that come up regarding. Justin just discussed one that will come up about PACE, and with that, call us. We are reaching out to your staffs, we'll reach out to your offices prior to session, but anything else. We have a lobbyist in town, most of you know, I believe, have met and worked with Tim Falls. We are available to you. And the tax collectors truly take the attitude we want better government to make it easier for the citizens to operate within the government, but we also want to be the go-to person to shoot you straight with whatever it is regarding the collection of tax in the state of Florida. Thank you very much. I'm giving you 17 seconds.
We'll take it.
Thank you.
Mayor Wagner from Desco.
All right, good evening, delegates, representatives, senators. My name is Bobby Wagner, Mayor of Destin, and outside of this position, you guys are going to help me fulfill one of my personal dreams, and that is to be on Shark Tank. I figure this is as close as it gets to asking for some money, get some projects, and making some investments happen. So we have 3 opportunities for you guys to be a part of the Destin investment, and with that, I'll get right to it. So the first one, here's the pitch. Imagine stormwater that's working backwards. Instead of water relieving from our ponds and the neighbors' backyards, it's actually flowing upstream in a way so where the Choctachi Bay, as it rains in water, is increasing. We have a stormwater parcel that is in the Maney County outfall, that is labeled on there. And so instead of doing its job and allowing us to relieve water, it's actually building up. You guys did a great job helping us last year with the outfall over in East Four Prong Lake. And so as Destin is very close to both bodies of water, the Gulf and the Bay, this is going to be attacking the Bay side of things. So with that, we are asking for a 10% stake in a $10 million project that's already underway, thanks to several different investors, one being the city, of course, on all of these. A second one going to be FDP, which really comes down to the oil, BP oil spill money. So it's their very last project that they're doing as far as a restoration of the parks. And this is a project that does not fund, their portion does not fund this outfall, and we would love to do things the right way and have this situated first before they come in and make a beautiful park. And if we do it opposite, we're going to have some scars as we tear up taxpayer dollars to do something that we probably should have done first. So with your help and a 10% investment of $1 million out of the $10 million that's going to be in this project as a whole, we would love to partner with you guys to get stormwater flowing the correct way for both our wetland preservation, as well as the residents, the single-family home residents that abut up to it. The second one is a hook that I think is quite fitting for me. This started the Crosstown Connector when I was in middle school. And so now as mayor, I'm having the honor to hopefully bring this all the way to fruition over decades of trial and error. We're finally at 100% design plans. We have partners and investors from our amazing county, all the way to trip funds with FDOT, our own local dollars, and for you guys coming in here with an additional $3 million to fill the gap of what inflation has done since middle school to now. If you guys can help us finish and fill that gap of inflation, we will have finally a crosstown connector that alleviates 98 congestion. FDOT failed for feasibility of widening a 6-lane highway on Destin. So this will be the east and west corridor. The final one is just kind of one that is a feel-good. Clan Taylor Park is a community park for us, and with some federal funds, we are hoping for help with you guys to allow us to add some of those amenities for ADA compliance for a lot of the playground stuff. So those are our 3 projects in the charts. I ask for your investment and a piece of the pie as you help us involve and increase Destin's infrastructure. I'll leave you with a Winston Churchill quote, and that's shapely says, "We shape our buildings, therefore they shape us." So please help us shape our community and move together to make Destin and Northwest Florida a great place for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
Tim Bulldog, please.
I promise not to be as clever or to take nearly as much time as Mayor Wagner. First of all, I just want to thank you all for coming up here, especially Rep. Maney. I appreciate the fact that you moved it around. We always love it when people choose the view, and that's what you guys did tonight, so we appreciate that. Really, tonight I just wanted to say that on behalf of the City of Crestview, we would like to extend our support towards the project that the Commission Chair spoke of, the widening of Highway 85. If you made the track up here today, you understand why that is so important. Additionally, we all know that this year there's a lot of conversation about it being a little bit tighter year, and that may be some of the same things that we've seen over the last few years as it relates to the funding of these types of projects is going to get a little bit tighter. So we also will be doing the same thing to make sure that we are bringing to the table an appropriate amount of funding. What we ask from you is that you continue to support those projects that have helped us to continue to grow the economy here in the city of Crestview over the last few years. You guys have been able to, together, we have put money, we have been able to bring about $4 million here, which has allowed us to widen roads, fix stormwater, and do infrastructure improvements such as septic and sewer. Those are the same types of projects that you see from the city of Crestview this year with the same types of matches. So I would just ask that as you get over there, you guys will be headed over there shortly, and the conversation start to go about what will be cut. We ask that you please continue to fight for those infrastructure projects. Our environment is important. We continue to protect it through things like septic and sewer projects, and also it allows us to continue the economic growth that we've been able to see here in the Panhandle. Again, thank you so much. It's great to have you back. We'll see hopefully you'll be doing something very for us, so we'll see how that goes. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Chief Page, Fort Walton.
Good evening, distinguished delegation, members of the audience. I'd like to start off with one privilege. I also represent the incoming Florida Police Chief President, and I sit on the IACP Board of Directors. And I'd like to tell you that Florida is the envy across the country for law enforcement. And it's only through your great leadership that we've become the place to be for law enforcement, so I'd like to thank you for that. Now I'm officially here for the city of Fort Walton Beach, and we have a council meeting tonight, so the mayor or city manager cannot attend, but they send their greetings and a welcome. And Judge, I'm glad you can exclude us Southerners from your meeting up here in the north. So I'd like to also start off by saying your leadership has also made it a place where families can thrive and businesses can prosper. And we look to that continued leadership from the legislature. We have 2 projects from the city of Fort Walton Beach. One is Hill Ave and Anchor Street. The city's looking at $1 million project out there with a 50% city match, so $500,000 from the state legislature. And this is a project that will be in line with the Florida Strategic Highway and Safety Plan, FDOT's Complete Streets, FDOT's Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Initiatives, and we think it would generate economic and transportational growth because Hill Ave is a major connection between the University of West Florida, 98, Mary Esther, Fort Walton Beach, and the industrial park that's out there. There'd also be some work that would be done on campus. The second project the city's looking at is Hollywood Boulevard. This would be a $3 million total project with a $1.5 million ask from the state legislature. This would also bring Hollywood Boulevard into alignment with Florida's Strategic Highway Safety Plan, FDOT Complete Streets, pedestrian bicycle safety, and another interesting aspect, we would like to develop it for multimodal use for alternative forms of transportation, whether it's bikes, golf carts, low-speed vehicles. We'd like to put a utility lane on there, very similar to the Patt that's being done on Okaloosa Island. We think that would really complete the neighborhood, and this could be an example for the rest of the state. So with that, I give you back almost a minute of your time, and I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Geis from Nashville, Florida.
Yes, sir. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for your leadership and service to this community for the past few years. The city of Niceville is requesting a partnership with the state for 2 different projects, and then England Air Force Base, my former legal office, has asked me to champion a legislative request on their behalf. So the first project is a $2 million request for a potable water well, which represents 50% of the cost of the project. This $2 million is for the design, permitting, and construction of a water well on the very north boundary of the city of Niceville, and to eliminate a well that currently sits 20 feet off of Highway 20. The Northwest Florida Water Management District has determined that the aquifer levels of the water levels of the Floridian aquifer in Niceville are 35 to 55 feet below sea level. And thus, our aquifer is subject to saltwater intrusion and upcoming. They have also determined that water demand will increase 22 to 25% between now and 2045. This increase will demand additional water and draw on the Floridian aquifer, which will increase saltwater salinity. So this project will move the well to the northern end of Niceville, thus protecting the Florida aquifer and protecting Florida's water supply for years to come. The second partnership request, I am seeking $350,000, which represents 36% of the cost, to design a 2-lane alternative transportation corridor and multi-use trail along Highway 20. As you all are well aware, State Road 20 is Niceville's primary business corridor, primary school corridor, and primary transportation corridor to England Air Force Base. Unfortunately, due to the approximately 2 million cars that travel down Highway 20 per month through the city of Niceville, it has been identified as a high priority, high injury network. Completion of this segment will create an alternative transportation corridor to State Road 20 from Home Boulevard to Rocky Bayou Drive. And it will also create a multimodal path that connects to the county's planned trail that they are installing in the next calendar year. This project is consistent with military installation resiliency review, the TPO Safe Streets Action Plan, and the TPO's long-range transportation plan. Finally, the England Air Force Base Legal Office is asking for you to potentially consider amending Florida Statute 681.119, which is the Florida's lemon law. They're requesting that you add section 119. It goes up to 681.118. There are currently 65,000 active duty soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines in the state of Florida. The current lemon law is complex, time-consuming, and does not factor in the uniqueness of military life and demands such as deployments, TDYs, and frequent moves. Gentlemen, all of these packages are in your binder in front of you. I'd be happy to take any questions or meet with you at a later date to discuss further. Thank you.
Thank you. Jared Cobb from Mary Esther.
Gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to share a couple projects that are important to our community. The first is the Northwest Stormwater Improvements. This is the second phase of the project. It would regrade and pipe 2,500 lineal feet of ditch from Hollywood Boulevard west along the city's boundary with Colbert Field. Approximately 25% of this ditch flows in the wrong direction towards Hollywood Boulevard, and during heavy rains, it floods the street as well as some of the properties in the neighborhood. And also the existing stormwater pond that's being renovated under phase 1 is overlooked. Completion of this project will mitigate flooding, improve stormwater quality, and preserve the integrity of the downstream pond. We have one partner with this project being Holbrook Field. This project does straddle Holbrook Field, and so we are seeking an easement with Holbrook Field currently. Once that is completed, we will be able to move forward with the bidding process because the design is already complete. This is approximately a $1 million project, and we are requesting $500,000 state appropriation. The second project is the Okaloosa County wastewater connection. This would construct a 10-mile wastewater pipeline and 2 pump stations from the existing Marietta wastewater treatment facility to the already Pritchett wastewater treatment facility owned by Okaloosa County. Currently, our existing wastewater treatment facility needs a significant investment of $12 to $15 million. Per our consent order with DEP, the city is required to either renovate our existing facility or connect to the Okaloosa County facility. Our city council did work through the process of an engineering study to look at alternatives and selected connecting to Okaloosa County in 2023. Our council also asked for staff to solicit grants and a potential partnership with Holbrook Field. Upon completion, this project would bring the city into compliance with DEP, would decommission our existing plant, and reduce our long-term operating costs. We have several partners in this project, Okaloosa County, potentially Holbrook Field. We do have a letter of support from them, as well as the Rural Coast Regional Councils assisting with grant writing support. Our partners have started meeting monthly. This past October, we've established a framework for the engineering, construction, future operations, and maintenance. Holbrook Field is completing an alternative study similar to the one completed by the city of Marietta, and we expect a formal decision this next summer. The total project is about a $30 million project with $4 million for engineering. We do feel these are pretty conservative estimates. We think we can bring that cost down, but we'd like to, especially at this stage, be a little conservative. Our project request at this time is $1 million towards the engineering for the project. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your support.
Thank you. Any questions?
I've got one. Jared, did the DEP give you a timeline of which you have to meet?
Yes, sir. We do have a timeline, and we just requested an extension. They've expressed a willingness to work with us as long as we're moving the project forward, and they're especially interested if we've got another partner, this potential partner, moving forward. Thank you.
Okaloosa County is fortunate to have 3 institutions of higher learning: Northwest Florida State, Florida A&M, and University of West Florida. So next we're going to hear from University of West Florida.
Thank you and good evening. And I want to thank you all for the work that you have done for our region and our state, and the work that you're about to do for our region and our state. I do want to highlight 3 items that we're bringing forth for your consideration. We're building on a 30-plus year relationship with Northwest Florida State College. We have a joint campus in Fort Walton Beach, and we are proposing a conversion of that campus to a STEM campus. We're working closely with the staff at Northwest Florida State. We are eagerly awaiting the official arrival of their new president. And the first step will be expansion of labs to make room for civil engineering. We currently offer computer engineering, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering, and civil engineering would be next. I think there are a lot of opportunities here, and we ask for your support. And that brings to a second request, and that is recurring funding for our civil engineering program. We received startup funding 2 years ago from the legislature for civil engineering, and we started it up. And we have faculty hired. The first students will enter the program in the fall, and we would ask consideration for recurring funding for that program. And those things will support our Talent Catalyst program, which is a workforce alignment program that we have established, and we're working with employers to build pipelines to provide as many workers as they need in specific areas, and particularly in the STEM areas as well. So these things all work together. It's part of a good collaborative that we already have in Okaloosa County, and we ask and appreciate yours.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Saunders, if you are able to make the expansions that you're looking for on joint campus, how complete will that campus be then in being able to offer the all of the courses necessary for a bachelor's degree, and how far would a student be able to move toward a master's degree from that campus?
Currently, the complete programs are offered there. The engineering programs are completely offered on the campus, and we built it that way. And we'll build civil engineering the same way. We do have a direct entry master's in nursing program. We have not put plans in place for a master's program further than a bachelor's, but that's a great idea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Have the Board of Governors weighed in on what to do with that expansion?
I'm sorry?
Has the Board of Governors weighed in on that expansion money?
No comment yet.
Okay. I think it's a good idea. I'm for it. Do we know how much it's going to cost to?
We're asking for $3 million for the lab expansions.
Thank you. Kevin Brown from Northwest Florida State College.
Good evening. Kevin Brown, Northwest Florida State College. I'm actually going to give my time to our incoming president, but before I do that, I just wanted to quickly thank you all for your steadfast support for our 8,000 plus students in these two counties, Okaloosa and Walton. Last year, you generously appropriated $8.5 million in order for us to finish our first responder public safety building. Because of that, our students are going to have the best equipment and training in the world. Also, we appreciate the fact that Senator Gaetz, Triumph, and your support has allowed us to double our nursing output over the last few years. So with that, I don't want to spend any more time. Let's you meet our new incoming president.
And Don Gaetz, and it's a good honor to see you all again, and it's always a great honor to have you here at Delegation. I'm very, very fortunate and thankful to have Kevin and others on our team. Dr. Petrosky, who you know is our interim president, done an outstanding job. Dr. Stevenson, prior to that, just continued to do great things to the college. I'm thankful to be joining this bigger, larger educational family here at Okaloosa and Walton County. And without question, what we all do, what each of you is vitally important for our success. And so coming in, I'm learning quite a bit at this point in time, but also recognize that having a good partnership with the legislature is very important. So I've worked with all of y'all to a degree, but not in this capacity. So I want to first thank you for what you do. Our county would not be where it is without your leadership. And so we're grateful for that opportunity to serve alongside you, but also to continue the mission and purpose of transforming lives for our educational program, especially at Northwest Florida State College. It's one of our main missional points. And so having the success of working with you is a vital part of that. Outside of that, the leadership continue working with our local military, Okaloosa County, Okaloosa and Walton County School Districts, Dr. Saunders, BWF, and you other educational partners. We have the honor to work with in your middle, and others. We will continue to fight and stay on the front lines of that. And we're going to have at least two legislative appropriations we'll bring to you in time. Because I'm still new, don't start until January 2nd, but we're still vetting those out. A couple of eco projects as well, working with each of you. We're going to probably transform one. As you know, the governor's top priorities are number one, workforce development state in the nation by 2030. We have a great opportunity on one of our campuses to be just that. And the collegiate system is something unique to all Northwest Florida. And so I look forward to talking to each one of you about that project as we look at, again, for the transform lives. I believe each of us are part of the bigger wineskin of recognizing that everyone's got significance and a purpose and call in their life. And we want to make sure that Northwest Florida State is doing their key part to make sure we're lining that issue. So look forward to working with each of you. Honor to be with you tonight. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I would just mention the speaker re-emphasized that he's changed the House rules. And we have a very firm one-day deadline. So get with us when you can.
Yes, sir.
In the House. I don't know about the Senate, but I know the House rule from this speaker is one shot.
Yeah. Very nice. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Chief Wagner, Ocean City Wright Fire Department. To be followed by Ted Corcoran. Ted here? Oh, there he is on the front row where I couldn't see him.
That's not me, I'm gentlemen, Senator Gaetz, Senator Trumbull, Senator Maney, first, as a father and a husband and a fire chief, I just want to thank you guys for the contributions that you guys have made to making Northwest Florida a place where it's okay to have and hold values. As a leader of a family and an organization, it makes it so much easier for us to know that we have the support of those that represent us to stand on our values when that time comes. So thank you, and I think luckily in Okaloosa County, we have that same support at the local level. As far as our district goes, part of our district, in our district is Air Force Enlisted Village, which is a residential and assisted living facility for veterans and veteran families, veterans widows. They are expanding that in a partnership with the United States Air Force. They have got a new piece of property that they're going to be expanding residential as well as medical care for wounded warriors. Part of that project is to add a fire and EMS station on that property so we can care for those people that have served us so well, just that much better. So we will be seeking an appropriation request for that project. And that is our only request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question? Ted Corcoran, Fort Walton Beach Chamber.
Thank you, my friends. Ted Corcoran on behalf of Community Solutions and One Hopeful Place. In 2015, Senator Don Gaetz and Representative Matt Gaetz sponsored a $300,000 state appropriation to start construction at One Hopeful Place. In 2017, One Hopeful Place opened as an 11-bed shelter for men. It is now expanded to 50 beds for men, 17 for women, and a cold night shelter for up to 48 people. Since 2017, One Hopeful Place has housed over 700 persons, with over a third finding their own housing. Almost 50% of the veterans that stay there secured their own housing. Since 2020, our good friends from Bridgeway Center have run this facility. In 2023 and 2024, Representative Maney, with support from Senator Trumbull and Representative Rudman and their incredible staffs, helped us appropriate $400,000 to demolish over 2 acres of old wastewater treatment plant there. That land ultimately will be expanded at some point in time, and there will be affordable housing for over 100 units. So now it's 2025. Our final appropriation is to convert our unfinished existing building into a one-stop shop location for everything homeless in southern Okaloosa County. Imagine one location where everyone in the county knows to send those who are down on their luck and don't know where to go. Besides One Hopeful Place staff, there will be rotating offices where over 20 other organizations will be able to provide their services in one location. The cost of this remodeling of the building is $400,000.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Then I understand you, Ted, to say 50% of the veterans?
50% of the veterans who stay there, Senator, are finding housing.
Okay, so it's not 50% of all those who stay there, it's 50% of the veterans.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Bonnie Barlow. Speaking of Bridgeway Center.
Yeah, perfect time. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for all that you do, that you support behavioral health in Florida. What you've done over the years have been significant. But I'm here to talk about the Forensic Pretrial Diversion Program. That is a program that has been championed by Commissioner Ketchel. She has worked tirelessly over the last 5 years to get that program going. It's one of 3 in the state. And Bridgeway Center is so proud to be in partnership with Okaloosa County for this program. It interrupts the cycle of people getting arrested due to their mental illness. This is a voluntary program. They come in on their own accord. It's a minimum of 90 days. Sometimes it takes longer than that. It is also addressing their mental illness, but also any substance use issues they have. And so this keeps the jail from having to be the mental health provider for Okaloosa County for those that qualify. They receive medication, life skill courses, and again, it changes not only the participants, but their future, the children that they have, and the relationships that they have. And so we work with them. The recidivism rate for rearrest is very low. So that tells me it's a voluntary program, but it's also a successful program. And I just ask you that you continue to support that program. It is a program of recovery and rehabilitation and reconciliation. And the collaborative effort that we have with a private nonprofit and Okaloosa County is a shining example of how our community has come together to serve those that are in so much need. So thank you for your previous support, and I ask you that you continue to support this vital program.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Diane Frazier, Emerald Coast Science Center.
I would say a huge thank you to supporting the Cultural Affairs grant that comes out of the Florida Department of State. You had come out with a $32 million funding stream for over 600 cultural organizations throughout the state of Florida. When it came time for Governor DeSantis to sign that budget, he wiped out that item. So these 600 cultural organizations across the state lost funding usually about 2 weeks before most of them started their fiscal year. So it's been a bit of a struggle for all of these organizations. Here across our region in Panhandle of Florida, it was about $1.2 million worth of funding. The majority of that went to the Pensacola area, but here in Okaloosa County, it affected ourselves at the Emerald Coast Science Center, Maddie Kelly Arts Foundation, Symphonia, and Northwest Florida Ballet. So this funding comes out of the Department of State. It is a peer-reviewed grant process. That is, we apply for a grant, we write a grant. Other museum organizations, cultural organizations, peer review those grants. We have to go in front of a panel to be grilled on our response. We have to score at least an 80% to be eligible for this funding. This is the first time this has ever happened, to where at the last minute that has been completely wiped out. So we know that our cultural organizations not only generate revenue for our state, they have the ability to touch every single Floridian multiple times. So whether you're talking about going to a symphony or seeing a play or doing the Warrior Project that the Kelly Arts Foundation does, or hosting the Ballet Academy here in our area that makes us really, really unique. That funding was very unique in the ability for it to also help us to fund things like rent, salaries, insurance. Most grants are very restricted in how they fund them. So this was one of the few ways that cultural organizations were able to get that type of funding. And if you think about it, these cultural organizations define what it is to be a human. They are places that we can go together across religious, political, socioeconomic lines and have a shared experience. They offer multi-generational opportunities to learn and play together. They're what defines a community and helps us to understand who we are, where we've come from, and where we're going. So I don't know what the next session looks like. I don't know what it's gonna, how it's all gonna all shake out. But I want to say thank you so much for supporting it last year, and I hope that you will continue to support it this year.
Scott Bunnington, Elmer Fire District.
Gentlemen, thank you for hosting this up here tonight. I am with the Elmer Fire District. I'm one of the commissioners on that. We are asking for $460,000 to replace the TAC 1. We have a small storyboard over there. That truck is a 2001. Dr. Rudman came up to our last board meeting last week and got a really good, only thing we didn't do for him was break out a creeper and let him slide underneath it because there's so much. Just a note about what goes on in Almaran. We operate annually on a budget of $123,000. That's all we operate on. Now, we are matching this with 2.1%, with $10,000, and that is taken out of the impact fees from the new bills. Just as a note, Almaran Fire District was incorporated in 1983. We've been in existence for 41 years, and to the best of all of our knowledge, we have never once asked for any appropriations in the legislation or Senate. Again, this would be a great enhancement to our fire department, as Senator Gaetz, or excuse me, as Representative Maney knows, Dorcas was turned over to the county, and the county is still working diligently to get services provided back. Within Dorcas, they are providing EMS, which is approximately about 60-70% of the calls, but 3 stations or 3 districts cover Dorcas, and now we're one of them, which increased our workload by probably 30 to 40%. Again, there's a bunch of different things that go on with that. This truck will greatly enhance our response capabilities. On average, we respond to a call a day. Last month was 37 calls. Every year, we're around 370 calls a year. Again, I wish you'd please take a look at this. It's in there's a package passed off every morning. The photos are just a small portion of the number of things that's wrong with the bed, old fiberglass bed. But hopefully you can take a look at that and one way or another get us $460,000. Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you. Are you all having any trouble recruiting volunteer firemen?
Yes. No, sir. We are absolutely.
Y'all are staff?
We have, what is it, 11 now? We have actually 11 qualified firefighters.
Thank you.
And 22 on staff. So, yeah, we're doing absolutely wonderful on that.
Thank you. I got into that some last year. Mr. Merritt for Blackman Fire District.
Good evening, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all being here, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing and what you will hopefully be doing for us in the future. So, obviously, I'm with the Blackman Fire District, and we cover a very large geographical area in North Okaloosa County and provide fire service. We have one of the major thoroughfares that comes through North Okaloosa County for a lot of the tourism and the things that goes to the south of it. So, with that, if you haven't noticed, if you've been driving up and down the road, you've noticed a tremendous amount of electric vehicles on the road today. So what we're requesting is $68,000 for a EV fire suppression equipment so that we can help to combat electric vehicle fires and things like that throughout our district. And we provide a tremendous amount of mutual aid to the other districts, like Almaran and other fire districts like Baker. So it wouldn't just be used in our district, it would be used in other districts. So we're trying to get, for all the initiative of the state and the governor with focusing on the future, and along with Mr. Petronis with things that he's trying to do with the initiatives with the electric vehicles and the ion batteries and things of that sort. So we definitely feel that it would be a major asset to the district for sure, to be able to try to find, to be able to get a vehicle like that to combat those type of things. So we have many challenges that we face on top of the new things that are added along. We're trying to get volunteers, trying to keep up to date with all of the equipment and the vehicles and the things that we have to do in such a small department. It's always a challenge to find the funding. So we're reaching out to you to hopefully that you will be able to help us with that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2024, how many fires did you have in electric vehicles, let's say in all of Okaloosa County?
To my knowledge, I'm not sure how many Okaloosa County has as a total. That would be a question probably for, I can get you an answer to, but as far as our district, we have not had any that I know of at the current moment. The amount of cars that we do constantly see, we want to be prepared when that does take place, because through that food fair, we have a tremendous amount of state forest, and we would hate for those things to not be able to be controlled and to get into that state forest and continue to destroy the property.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else? Is that request just for the equipment or training on the equipment?
That would just be for the equipment, sir. That would not be for the training.
So how would you get your people trained?
We have some different avenues, and we have a person within our department that is very good with the training. So, I mean, there may be some additional funding that we might need in the future for that training, but there's a lot of it that can be offered currently that I think that we can afford.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Michael Dingus, Okaloosa Educational Association.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, delegation members. My name is Michael Gaetz, and I teach Spanish and debate at Crescent High School, and I'm here today with Okaloosa County Education Association. We represent over 66% of the instructional personnel in Okaloosa County. My goal, and that of my colleagues, is to know that our students are well prepared for their future, whether at the next grade level, an institution of higher learning, vocational trades, or the workplace. I know that when we work together to meet this goal, there's no limit to what we can do. The legislature has made strides in addressing the issues facing educators, including ensuring more pathways for educators to gain their teaching certification and assessing the excess rules and regulations in education. But we can all agree that we still have work to do. Teacher shortages persist, our teachers remain ranked number 50 in the nation on average pay, and many of our teachers and education staff professionals are forced to work multiple jobs to simply provide for their families. As enrollment in colleges of education continue to decrease and fewer classroom teachers enter the profession through traditional methods, it's essential that we continue to address the teacher pipeline issues while focusing on ensuring new teachers are prepared for the classroom setting and the teaching quality standards remains high. We know that our working environments are our students' learning environments. So, as you consider education policy this session, we have suggestions to help address the issues faced on our campuses and our classrooms. We ask you to expand the financial investments in our public schools and allocate sufficient funds to compensate all school employees fairly. Investing just $1,000 more per student each year into the FP will ensure students have access to a world-class public education and simultaneously move Florida's teachers' salary ranking from the bottom into the top 10. We ask that you identify ways to keep current teachers in the classrooms. This includes permitting school districts to offer extended contracts for proven experienced teachers, allowing for local control over salary schedules, and addressing salary compression. Please ensure educators can retire with dignity. Florida currently has one of the best pension systems in the country. The Florida retirement system should remain solvent without burdening educators and other state employees with additional costs. Our robust pension system is pertinent in recruiting and retaining qualified educators. Additionally, the legislature should restore the previous cost of living adjustments for current and future retirees. Please also consider waiving fees for educator background checks, certification renewals, and certification tests for teacher prep program graduates. Additionally, the legislature should promote and fund pathways to teacher licensure for current education staff professionals at no cost to them. As time does not allow us to explore these policy recommendations for improving public education, we ask you to strengthen your commitment to our public schools. Investing in Florida's public K-12 education system, teachers, and education staff professionals is an investment in our students' future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, sir. Mr. Sherry. Condo Alliance. Okaloosa County Condo Alliance.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm here, what should be an easy ask. Don't spend any money on our road. Don't fund Okaloosa County's so-called improvements to Santa Rosa Boulevard. This project takes away 2 of our 4 driving lanes on the only road that can get us off the island or to a hospital. There are many real-life scenarios like lane closures or heavy traffic where EMS can help you faster with 4 lanes than with 2, and no scenario where 2 lanes are better than 4. Whether a heart attack, drowning, or stroke, time loss, heart muscle loss, or brain loss, or death. What if it were you or your loved one? Not to mention the traffic problems. Our neighborhood isn't clamoring for this. In 3 separate votes, 90% say they don't want it. 90%. Please think about that. This lane destruction project is less popular than open borders and Bidenomics. And we all know how that worked out. Make no mistake, this project isn't being done for us, it's being done to us. Do you know of any community clamoring to have their driving lanes taken away, to spend money to destroy their infrastructure? People want more lanes and less traffic, not the other way around. One of our former county commissioners often said he liked to vote for what would do the most good for the most people most of the time. There are hundreds of people in cars on Senators Boulevard for every one walking or on a bike. They usually walk on the beach if they live along Senators Boulevard or there. So this project fails his test by harming many people that benefit very few. And make no other mistake, Okaloosa County's $2 million ask to pay for phase 1 is just your down payment. They want $23 million so far for all phases, and they're not going to spend their own $23 million. So I think they'll be back to you for more state money, and probably a lot of it. How can you spend money to wreck our roads when we still have citizens in other parts of Okaloosa County, some of them requesting money on what you have in your packets, that are still using dirt roads? Let us keep the 4 lanes we already have, save lives, save money, stand up for common sense, and don't fund the Santa Rosa Boulevard project. Thank you, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Mrs. Sherry, were you going to speak also?
Yep.
Also for the Conville Alliance.
Gentlemen, I'm asking you not to fund Santa Rosa Boulevard driving lane construction project in Okaloosa Island. 3 sessions ago, Florida House Bill 3633 allocated $2 million for the $12 million project by committee. The last 2 sessions, no one has sponsored it. This project, as my husband said, will now cost $23 million. Please say no. Santa Rosa Boulevard is the 2.25-mile main street on Okaloosa Island, with 4 driving lanes plus a center turn lane and a median. It's most people's only access to a bridge off the island or to a hospital. Your funding will eliminate 2 driving lanes and the center turn lane and median on the western mile, and 1 driving lane and the center turn lane and median for another mile. Eliminating driving lanes and the resultant slower emergency response is overwhelmingly opposed by Okaloosa Islanders. Our island fire chief wrote to the county commission. This will delay response times by minutes. The minutes lost will cost someone their life. Personal testimonials shared at public meetings confirmed his words. As my husband said, project opposition is overwhelming. At the 2020 county workshop, 89% opposed. At the 2021 Okaloosa Island Leaseholders Association membership vote, 90% opposed. And at the October 2022 Leaseholders Association vote, 98% opposed. Santa Rosa Boulevard has served citizens in Eglin Air Force Base well for over 50 years. When asked at a BCC meeting if any commissioner was aware of a county road where driving lanes were eliminated, the chairman said no. Our county again has dirt roads and yet is asking you for money to demolish our paved lanes. Regarding this project, our county commissioner, Carolyn Ketchel, wrote that there's no requirement for improvements to be made. We don't want it, and our commissioner agrees it doesn't need to be done. I'll close with legislative history. November 10, 2011, I addressed the Northwest Florida Legislative Delegation on a $12 million project in the state. U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz, Florida Senate President Don Gaetz, Doug Dodson, Greg Edwards, and Brad Drake unanimously passed a resolution opposing the dark forest sand our commission planned to cover Okaloosa Island Beach. That delegation helped preserve our island's native white sand. Please reject funding the $23 million project mistake. Feel good knowing more. As you say, thank you here tonight. Thank you, and again, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Ms. Sherry. Ms. Sherry.
Yes.
Dr. Rudman has a quick question.
Yes.
So I used to actually own property on Okaloosa Island, and if I'm not mistaken, the 4 lanes currently go down into 2 right from the El Matador, is that correct?
No, they don't. We currently have 4 lanes, and this project will take it down to 2. And we'll get rid of the whole, we will lose the first mile, we'll go for about a mile, less than about half a mile, we'll go from 4 to 3, then we'll go from 3 to 2, and then we'll be at 2. And that's all the way down, it don't matter. Right now, we've got 4 lanes the whole way. You have 2 lanes one way, 2 lanes the other way, plus you've got a median that if you're older and you're walking, you can stop at the median and cross halfway. We're losing all of that. And we didn't ask for it. And that's why the numbers, every time it comes up, we went from 89% countywide to 90% to 98%. It's very hard none of you, unless you ran unopposed, you get 98% opposed, and yet we still keep going forward. I've heard so many good projects today. Please give the money somewhere else it's needed.
So for any tourists that are used to coming up with Brooks Bridge and hooking that right and coming out of the island echoes or whatever, you're saying those 4 lanes that they're accustomed to from the get-go.
They're going to have 1 lane each way when they're in island echoes. And you know how bad that is, and that's why our fire chief is so upset too. We had so many people, especially in El Matador down there, come and talk about the fact it's an older residents that are living there. The fire chief, we get really great response times. We pay more fire taxes than anyone in this county, but we get great response times. Suddenly you get 1 lane each way and you live in El Matador. There are times you're not going to make it. And there were people that testified, thankfully I'm not one of them, that they had heart attack incidents, various incidents, and were told if it had been a few more minutes, they wouldn't make it. And that's why it is such strong opposition on the island. But please give money to people here that need it, because I know there are a lot of good sources that need it here tonight, especially, they're no longer here, but the fire police are the fire department ahead of me. Volunteers that are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. 3 Rains Alzheimer's Association. 3 Rains. Going once, going twice. Rachel Payne. Together Towards Independence. And I told you you were on the agenda.
Hi. First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm the owner of a support coordination agency who provides services for clients on the home and community-based services waiver. I have about just under 200 clients from here to Bay County that my agency serves. So tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about Medicaid unwinding and how it affects my clients. So DCF right now is evaluating everybody who receives Medicaid and determining if they still have a disability. So the term disabilities encompasses a broad spectrum of physical, mental, sensory, or cognitive impairments that may limit the individual's ability to perform everyday activities or fully participate in society. In Florida, individuals with disabilities are a diverse group whose needs and experiences vary significantly. This population may include those with acquired conditions, such as physical impairments due to accidents or aging, as well as individuals with chronic illnesses or sensory impairments. By contrast, the population we serve consists only of those with developmental disabilities. The critical distinction between general disabilities and developmental disabilities lies in the origin and scope of the disability. While individuals with disabilities may become disabled at any stage of life, developmental disabilities begin early and impact fundamental areas of development. The difference highlights the importance of specialized services and supports for those with developmental disabilities to address their unique needs, empower their independence, and foster inclusion. So I'm sure you can see the difference and you can understand why our consumers do not need to have their Medicaid ended. On July 30th, a colleague of mine emailed 24 of our agencies requesting the Medicaid unwinding stats by August 1st. The 15 agencies that responded in that 2-day period had a total of 660 clients dropped from Medicaid since January of 2024. On the weekend of December 7th, the same colleague texted 7 agency owners to obtain current stats. Those 7 agencies have a total of 1,116 clients who have been dropped from Medicaid since January 2024. DCF stated the percentage of people unbound from Medicaid since the beginning of unwinding was only 1%. There are just under 36,000 developmentally disabled people on the HCBS waiver. 1% of 36,000 is 360. 3.1% is 1,116. This is an administrative issue that should not require legislative action to correct. People with developmental disabilities never get better. There is no cure for Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, autism, etc. Just because an APD client is kicked off of Medicaid does not mean they no longer need help from APD. It just means their providers work for free, which is unacceptable.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Nikki Owen, Arc of the Emerald Coast, please.
My name is Nikki Owen. I am the Executive Director for the Arc of the Emerald Coast. We are formerly known as Horizons of Okaloosa County. We provide services to individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities, as Rachel described. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for all of the legislature working with the governor and the Agency for Persons with Disabilities to institute an across-the-board 11% raise. This cut went into effect this past July. I did submit informational packages for your notebooks. Mainly, I wanted to address that providers are facing significant increases in administrative and regulative burdens. Some agencies have had to hire additional staff solely to address the compliance requirements that are new. And then also the I-Connect documentation system that was created by the Agency for Persons with Disabilities that rolled out to providers in 2020 remains ineffective, inefficient, and it contains a federally mandated component of the electronic visit verification that is down at least multiple times every month. So providers cannot remain in compliance with the program that doesn't work. To close, I'd like to specifically address adult day training programs. Recently, our agency had to close a program in Santa Rosa County in Milton, our day program, and that's because providers are required to staff our day programs based on the individuals that are enrolled, the enrollment numbers, and the ratios that have been assigned to those individuals. However, when an individual doesn't routinely attend or comes and goes during the day, they bill based on the hour. The Arc of Florida has created an initiative, and there's provisional language in what was passed this last time, to change that to either a day rate or a monthly rate, and Arc of the Emerald Coast does support the Arc of Florida in that endeavor. Also, another important note is that since 2020 to the end of 2024, there have been approximately 20 adult day training providers across Northwest Florida that have closed their doors. And with that initiative that Arc of Florida is spearheading, we're hoping to be able to sustain the remaining programs that are open so we can continue providing services to the individuals that need them. I'd be glad to meet with any of you individually to discuss further, but thank you for your time.
Any questions? I just mentioned that I visited earlier this month, I think it was the end of last month, with the Secretary of Persons with Disabilities. So people are aware of the cause of their work. Thank you. Kelly Hernandez. Almost continuum of care.
Good evening, delegates. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you and serve as an advocate for one of our most vulnerable populations. I am Kelly Hernandez. I'm the Executive Director of the Homelessness and Housing Alliance. We are the lead agency for the Okaloosa Walton Homeless Continuum of Care. I joined you to share with you our 2025 legislative priorities. These 3 priorities were developed in collaboration with the other 27 continuums of care across the state of Florida to work toward ending homelessness in our state and to increase the capacity of local COCs to manage and deliver these critical programs. Each of these priorities has also been supported in the DCF legislative budget request. Priority number 1 would be to maintain the current $5.2 million fiscal year funding for the recurring base budget homeless staffing grants. Staffing grants provide critical operational expenses to each of the state's 28 COC lead agencies. A 2021 study cited by the National Alliance to End Homelessness found that the average salary of employees working in permanent and temporary housing programs was under $31,000 per year. This means that many in the homelessness sector earn far below Florida's median household income of $73,000 and currently live in or close to poverty themselves. Capacity building and providing living wages for homeless service providers is also one of HUD's top priorities for the coming fiscal year at the federal level. Priority number 2 would be to maintain current fiscal year funding for the recurring base budget homeless challenge grants at just over $20 million. The legislature has funded this grant program each year consecutively since 2014, for which we thank you. Locally, this grant allows us the flexibility to meet the unique needs of individuals and families in our area. If emergency shelters are full, challenge funds allow us to provide temporary non-congregate shelter. These funds allow for rapid rehousing of those currently in shelter, meaning less wait times, and provides critical assistance to those currently housed who are at imminent risk of losing their shelter. Locally, challenge grant funds served 86 total clients representing 38 households last fiscal year. But so far, only halfway through this current fiscal year, we've already sheltered 370 individuals, representing 151 households in Okaloosa and Walton counties, just exclusively with challenge funding. We simply could not meet the needs of our homeless population without adequate challenge grant funding. Finally, priority number 3 would be to shift the current non-recurring $10 million unsheltered challenge grant funding to recurring funding for unsheltered individuals. Increasing capacity in our emergency shelters and providing mental health and substance abuse treatment options to those currently in shelter means breaking cycles of homelessness and getting us one step closer to our mission of making homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring in Okaloosa County. Thank you for the time to be here and meet with us this evening and for the work that I know you're doing and will continue to do. I ask that you support these 3 legislative priorities for the upcoming session, and I'm happy to meet individually or one-on-one to discuss these priorities and the overall needs of our homeless population and the agencies that strive to serve them.
Thank you very much. And Thompson, Moms for Liberty. Several other groups, I think.
I know.
But you still only got 3 minutes.
I do, that's fine. Welcome, distinguished delegation. I'm so appreciative of this opportunity to speak for Moms for Liberty, our 4 legislative priorities. We monitor the sites diligently. 2 of our 6 have dropped actually, so we will have, let's start with protecting students from harmful food dyes throughout Florida. We can't let California be the only person to start its train. So, Senator Martin has filed, and we will be filing Representative Weinberger. She will be filing a companion bill to that, and that is red number 40, yellow number 5. A lot of neurobehavioral issues, data suggests, comes from that, and given that, so we're going to do a companion bill for that. Prioritizing learning, keeping classrooms free from divisive symbols. We actually this morning called Senator Fine to thank him for filing SB 100. I apologize. He filed SB 100 for this exact piece of legislation, so hopefully you will support that. I encourage you to as well. Protecting parental authority. Moms for Liberty seeks to strengthen parental rights by requiring opt-in for all K-12 student health surveys and services, including mental health services and guidance counseling. Current law recognizes a parent's right to opt out of certain services, but unfortunately, it does not adequately safeguard a parent's rights to maintain control over the health and well-being of their minor children in an education setting. It's the responsibility of the government to balance the need for public service and the obligation to safeguard those parental rights to make those informed decisions. As such, programs that transfer parental rights and the decision-making authority to schools, health departments, the CDC, such as Whole School, Whole Community, or the WSCC, otherwise known as Whole Child Model, should be eliminated. The supplemental material vendor compliance, this will help all of Florida school districts. It helps our superintendents, our school boards. What this does is we recognize public schools rely heavily on outside vendors bringing in materials, both electronically to school libraries and to the classrooms. Unfortunately, there's no teeth in our legislation currently that holds them accountable. That would strongly help all of our school districts in all 67 counties, because many of them are yielding a one-person show, media specialist, quote unquote, that has to do it all. And it's a priority to get our district help in that area. I have a tiny, if I may, the consent required, protecting parental rights in school discipline. You have the packet. We're partnering with the Florida Student Policy Forum from the University of Florida. This protects our most vulnerable. I strongly encourage you to strongly concerning this piece of legislation to sponsor it, both in the House and the Senate. It protects our most vulnerable student population. They're disproportionately being disciplined, and that is our disabled students. Thank you for your time.
Carol, M2, State Connections.
Thank you for being here tonight and giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. I am the new Executive Director of State Connections. Since 1997, State Connections has been providing supervised visitation, monitored exchanges, and parenting classes for families affected by domestic violence, child abuse and neglect, criminal cases, substance abuse, and child sexual abuse. At State Connections, we serve a diverse community, including our military, individuals with disabilities such as autistic children and adults, parents with substance abuse issues, and those with severe mental health conditions like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Our services ensure that children can maintain the bonds and the relationship with both parents in a safe and controlled environment. In 2023, we served 124 families with 220 children, providing 1,576 of those services, and we opened 75 new cases that year. Despite reduced staff in 2024, we continued to serve 127 families with 223 children, providing 1,351 services today, and we've opened 85 new cases. Due to our funding constraints, our case managers in Okaloosa County can only work 32 hours a week, yet we've optimized our workdays to manage within our current budget constraints. Our case managers would be able to serve more families with just those few additional hours. Our big funding challenge. In October, we did not receive the JFF-ODW grant that provided $200,000 worth of our annual budget for 3 years. This loss is profoundly impacted our funding and operational capabilities. While we applied for additional grants and received the Okaloosa County nonprofit discretionary grant for 2024, the disruption from not receiving it in 2023 led to the depletion of our reserve funds and staff reductions. I've been applying for grants, and we did receive another grant for Walton County, but it doesn't go into effect until 2025. We applied for and did not receive the Impact 100 grant that would have helped us move into our new Fort Walton Beach office that we got with our ARPA funds. But as of today, we've secured over $30,000 in donations for building supplies and labor. We're going to get into that building this year, in the next 6 months. And that saves us another $24,000 in rent. I've also applied to the Law Enforcement Trust Fund for the emergency funding. So if you guys hear anything about that and State Connections, we would love your support for that. We do need state support and state funding, $125,000 a year for 3 years, to make sure that our offices in Okaloosa County, we have 2 centers in Okaloosa County, so that we're able to get up to the number of cases that we need to be doing and hire another visit monitor. Without additional support, we're looking at closing our Crestview office, selling that building, and laying off our staff. The experience and training of our case managers, Mike Candace in our Crestview office, who's been with us for 8 years, is invaluable and irreplaceable. We appreciate your support and would like your continued support in dealing with this LATF funds and hopefully getting some state funding.
Thank you. We've had 6 people sign up to speak tonight after they got here. The first is Lynette Hudson, Convention of States. And if we all stay real focused on the time, we'll get out here on time. Do what? She brought cookies. Because she knew we were going to be late. The mayor said he turned the thermostat down, so he figured there'd be enough hot air up there.
That's the reason why. Okay. I provided all of you with this, that what convention state would like to do at this point is have a committee to actually propose amendments in one, and also to pick delegates for rules, to pick the commissioner. Because right now, there's nothing written down. So that's the reason I'm here, and there were another special committee that came up with some possible amendments that you can look at that are in here as well. To review. No questions?
I don't know enough about it. The legislature, or at least the House, every year passes something on convention of states, and we can't get Congress to do anything with it, so I don't know.
Well, that's why we kind of want the committee to be established so that you can get on the same page. Because without the legislature actually getting involved to form a committee, it's just kind of a.
We'll talk. I need to understand more about what you want. Thank you. Lane Watkins, representing himself on various issues, it says. But no more than 3 minutes worth.
So, Lane Watkins from unincorporated North Crestview. I want to thank Senator Trumbull and Representative Rudman for meeting and engaging in, by the way, frank, two-way, and straightforward discussion with the Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton citizens in the Capitol last session to learn about how the legislature works. Now, I'm as stunned as you are that a group of citizens would think the legislature is a place to learn about work being done, but I we'll bring another busload to this session, and I hope to meet with each of you. I provided details of a few topics to you via email, and but I wanted to go ahead and make a public statement based on some of the statements recently by Senate leadership. You and I both know the House and the Senate leadership and the governor's priorities determine what bills that you file get to committee and get to the floor. So my emphasis this evening is on asking for your communications, of our priorities to leadership. You've heard from a lot of people up here. I'm very much in sync with a couple of the priorities from the county. Senate President Allwritten is wavering on Senator Fine's bill to restore essential Second Amendment rights to our 18 and 20-year-olds. Citizens across the state want this. Okaloosa County makes a great case for this in their legislative priorities, so I'd like to second that. We all need to join with you to meet with our Florida Sheriff's Association to help them lobby for these Second Amendment rights. Representative Rudman also has his HB 31, carrying and possession of weapons and firearms, is affected by the same thing. Senator Allwritten's wavering on this. He wants to know what the sheriffs think. And to my knowledge, the sheriffs traditionally have been supportive of this. So I really hope you all talk to them and in touch and help us talk to them. Tell us what we can do with them. I'd also like to share my alarm that Senator Pro Tem Roeder is prioritizing unrestricted development over respecting community and government growth management. This affects the ability of our county to govern our county. I and the county are asking for support in reining in the Burt-Harris Property Rights Act. The even worse Live Local Act needs some serious revision. So please help us reach out to the Senator Brodeur, and also Senator Pasadomo. You all lived through that last year with Live Local, and convince him to support some needed restrictions for the county. So That's pretty much it. Again, I've emailed you all a bunch of stuff, and I appreciate working with you in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Brian Carter, Florida Guardian Ad Litem Office.
Good evening, members of the delegation. Happy holidays. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing, and thank you for taking the time with all of us this evening. My name is Brian Carter. I'm the Circuit Director for the Guardian Ad Litem Office in Circuit 1. As you're very likely aware, the Guardians Ad Litem assigned by the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office represent the legal interests of Florida's abused and neglected children in court and in the community. I've spoken with many of you in the past about what we do and how important our work is. The children are appointed by a judge, our office and our guardians are appointed by a judge after a child enters the dependency system. Every child appointed to the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office is assigned a Guardian Ad Litem attorney, a child welfare professional, and a volunteer or pro bono attorney from the child's community if one is available. This representation model is a national best practice. Our legal representation protects and advances the legal rights of children whose age and other limitations prevent them from making their own decisions. The Florida Guardian Ad Litem Office considers a child's physical safety, emotional well-being, and permanent placement in a stable, nurturing home where the child can thrive. We provide zealous independent representation, and our office is the only party to a child's case that provides undivided loyalty to the child. Now, some good news. In 2023, the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office represented over 34,000 children. The Florida statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office appeared in 531 dependency appeals, and of those decisions rendered in 2023, the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office won 97% of those appeals. This is an indicator of the high-quality, independent legal representation our office provides to Florida's most vulnerable children. 2024 brought significant and great developments as well. For the first time in the history of our office, there were resources to represent every child we were assigned. We have you to thank for that. Thank you so much for your support. So every child has representation. Additionally, in 2024, and in collaboration with Oak Florida, the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office developed a new mentoring initiative, which was subsequently codified by the legislature and enacted into law on July 1 this year. Our office works with dependent youth approaching adulthood to identify and connect them with a mentor who is committed to assisting the teen in navigating life as they prepare to start living independently. In November of 2024, we celebrated a significant milestone and helped over 1,000 teens exiting foster care identify a stable, caring adult who is committed to mentoring them. Because this has been so successful, we're obviously looking for more mentors to make a difference. The upcoming session, during this upcoming session, the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office is requesting a much-needed upgrade to its case management and data tracking system, increasing child manager compensation, and due to the federal reduction of Victims of Trauma Act positions, the office is requesting 12 FTE positions to offset those losses. We want to thank you all for your support. Thank you for everything you're doing. And thank you for everything you're doing for the children that need us. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you. Hope Fire District. Mr. Connors, Chief Connors.
Yes, sir. My name is Jim Connors, and I'm proud to represent the Hope Fire District today. We are a special district that's located north of Eglin Range and on the west side of Okaloosa County near Santa Rosa County. We have 59 square miles in our area. We are also in the Hope Fire District have 9 miles of CSX Railroad, 9 miles of Highway 90, and 9 miles of Interstate 10. Interstate 10 in 2023, we responded to 68 different traffic incidents on Interstate 10. What we had responding to them are the 13 volunteer firemen we have at Hope that are rated level 1 or level 2. We also have a chaplain, we have a public affairs person, we have 2 drivers, we have 5 commissioners. Everybody is a volunteer. There's nobody paid in the whole fire district. Our budget last year was $135,000 to do this. That all comes from non-ad valorem assessments that we collect here. We also get some additional money that we can't count on, but when it comes through the Forestry Service in the form of grants, and we do fundraising activities also in the fire district. Our problem is, about 4 years ago, the insurance company that we used condemned the building that we were using for our fire department. We had to move out. It was rat infested, and they refused to insure it, so we couldn't put our fire trucks in there. We are currently renting a place to put that we operate out of, very near to where we were at the intersection of Highway 90 and Log Lake Road. But what we've done is we had 3 acres that we're using for the new fire station. 1.5 miles from Interstate 10, one flashing light, and can provide service to the community the same way we're doing it right now. As we look to build a new firehouse, we have, and I hate to say this out loud, a $6 million program to do this, but it's divided up into 3 stages. The first stage will have 2 bays, which will hold 4 fire trucks. We'll do all the utilities, all the electrical work, and everything else that's needed to support the whole fire station. We can operate out of the 2 bays until we build the second stage, which will have training areas, air conditioning, heat, and be able to put offices in for the chief, a kitchen, and everything that a fire station needs. And the third stage will enable firemen to spend the night in there when we get to the point that we have manned fire stations around the clock. Each one of those stages will run about $2 million. We can do them in yearly increments, and we can continue to service the folks in Holt and the surrounding areas.
Do you own that property?
Yes, sir, we do.
So that could be your match?
Yes, sir.
The 3
Well,
acres?
we have the property in there, and we also can put up $100,000. We spend 1/3 of our budget on audits and insurance every year, and that's just a fact of life. So even out of our, every year we have turned about an $8,000 or $10,000 plus up. I don't want to say profit, but a plus up to the budget coming in. Until a couple of years ago, when we got the request for the audit from the state, we ran $15,000 deficit on that non-budgeted audit that came in. So, but outside of that, Hope Fire District has no debts. Like I say, our strength is our people, and we give them a good facility to operate out of, they'll operate even better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie to be Smith, We the People, Laurel Hill. Good evening. Good evening. You're next to last. You're always keeping everybody else here. But no pressure.
Thanks, nice to see you guys. Thank you for everything you do. You've done what you're going to do, but don't get a big head. Senator Gaetz, I met you at one of these in Niceville like 10 years ago. And everybody was talking about the big TUC scandal and all that, and we did some work on some show laws so that we wouldn't have that kind of scandal again. We're like buying yachts and stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff with TUC funds. Yeah, that was crazy. But that's in the past, so that's cool. I went to a TDC meeting this morning, and it was interesting. It made my day because they were like, our motto is, well, not like a motto, but I talked to the woman, and she said that their focus was less people, more money. And that like made my day. I was like, okay, cool, maybe these TDC people want some of that. But I thought that was neat. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. Dr. Rudman, I'd like to thank you specifically for bringing Eglin to the table to talk about improving our infrastructure around here and making the roads safer for our military members and their families and our entire community. For supporting veteran privacy, I think all of you have had some hand in that as well. And medical freedom. The last thing I want to talk on is the mandate that everybody talks about. The mandate. We elected Trump, there's a mandate. Well, the mandate isn't just to do everything President Trump says, right? The mandate is that we the people are sick of it. We the people are just like sick and tired of being sick and tired of not being the top priority. America first, Florida first, it's we the people first, not special interests, not, so I just ask you guys, please remember that when you go to Tallahassee or when you go to Washington, that it's we the people first. Don't sell us out. We work hard for our future, for our kids, for the future of our community. Don't sell us out. Don't sell out the future for our children that we're working so hard for. All right. God bless. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday, Jesus.
Thank you. Stephanie Fitzgerald? Freedom Life Compass Recovery Support Service.
Yes, sir. Stephanie Fitzgerald, formerly Waddell, finally back to my original name as of yesterday, so.
Congratulations.
So I just came to speak to you a little bit about recovery, faith-based recovery programs in our community, and I want to start with the why. So why is always important to me. I grew up in a home with drugs and alcohol. I used for the first time at age 11, drank for the first time at age 13, dropped out of high school at 15, ended up homeless at 23, and by the grace of God, someone encouraged me to join the military because everybody I knew was dying or in jail. The Army was the only branch that would take me because I did not have my high school diploma. Well, I did 4 years in the Army. I came out of the Army with more issues than when I went in. Continued to self-medicate for 3 years, but by the grace of God, my mother was a born-again Christian and encouraged me to go to church. I hit my knees at age 30 and asked God to change my life. And I am now a woman in long-term recovery from substance use and alcoholism. I helped my brother get into a residential recovery program called Project Hope, which he graduated and now runs. And I started my nonprofit because of that, to help people like my brother and myself who want to change. In the last 5 years, I've encountered some barriers to funding for these types of organizations, and I'd like to propose collaboration with state government and faith-based recovery organizations in our community to address some of these barriers and find creative ways to fund programs such as residential recovery programs and transitional homes like Freedom House, Project Hope, Saving Grace, Path of Grace, and Haven House, which are all doing amazing work in our community. The largest opportunity is funding for staffing these programs as they require religious activities. Funding sources from state have significant barriers. I urge you to consider this gap in funding as an opportunity to strengthen partnerships and improve outcomes and ensure that no Floridian is left behind. Strategic investments for faith-based programs offer compassionate, efficient, and impactful ways to address some of Florida's most complex challenges. I'd like to, sorry.
We have to adjourn because of time, unless we get a motion to extend for 5 minutes.
What's your preference, Mr. Chairman?
I'm not the one who has to drive.
Senator? 5 minutes. I move that we extend for 5 minutes.
Extend it without objection, extend it for 5 minutes, because there's one more person after you.
Okay.
But by law, we have to cut it off for what's advertised unless we extend. So that's what that drill was.
No worries.
We want to hear what you say.
Yes, sir. Again, my ask is for collaboration with state government and faith-based recovery organizations in our community to address these barriers and find creative ways to fund programs such as residential recovery programs that require religious services as part of participating in the program. Thank you for your leadership and your dedication to serving the people of Florida.
Thank you. All right, Riley. Here he comes. Talking about lead pipes. We're against them.
Thank you. I'm glad you are. Because Florida is actually the #1 state in the country for the amount of lead pipe.
What's your last name, please?
Parentone.
Thank you.
Don't worry, it's fine. #1 in the country for lead piping. I'll Burmese python sightings, we're #1 in the country for lead piping. And a lot of this is because we don't actually know where the lead piping is. We only found this out because the EPA came down and did a survey about houses where this lead piping might be. So going into the 2025 and 2026 session, there's a couple of ways that you can do this, Representative Maney, to get rid of this lead piping in Florida, as it harms children's brain development and it really suffers against the poor in this country that want to get tap water but are infested with lead just from the moment that they're born. So lead piping in Florida can be stopped in numerous ways. The first one, the most immediate way, is to provide grants and funding to local water boards and local counties to have orthophosphate solutions deployed into water supplies. This orthophosphate goes into the water and it's deployed around the borders of a lead pipe to prevent erosion with acidic water, and it stops lead pipe corrosion that might get lead into someone's drinking water. This orthophosphate solution has been proven many times across cities in the country to be harmless in case of ingestion. I mean, it's literally just non-harmful phosphate. So orthophosphate solutions being deployed in these counties and these cities would be a great first step to cope and stop lead corrosion from occurring. The next part is to actually map out these lead piping areas. The federal government has allocated grant money and has allocated support through the EPA to get rid of these lead pipes by 2030. So please, representatives, take this opportunity so we can start getting rid of these lead pipes and start getting them replaced with safer iron and copper pipes across our state. We are #1, we need to be number 50 in this number. Mr. Maney, you know that how bad lead piping is. We need to stop it. Thank you, representatives, and please do something about this.
Thank you very much. I think that's concluded everybody who signed up to give public statements. I just want to thank each and all of you for coming. This was not for us to talk to you, it was for us to listen to what your priorities are, and we appreciate you taking the time. And once again, thank you to the City of Crestview, law enforcement, and mayor, and everybody who's made this possible. Thank you all. Good night. We're adjourned.